I am Mark Greenstein of Ivy Bound. I want to give my message to a fortunately still small group, but for whom I'm very passionate about educating. You are the ones, and parents perhaps too, you are the high schoolers who've been badly influenced. You have gotten into your thoughts that standards are meaningless, at least admission standards for college. And so I hear this from maybe one parent every 2 months that, my daughter would like to go to a good college, but she feels that good colleges impose their way and it's unfair. So she doesn't want to participate in that kind of admissions system. Okay, their way is very fair. Their way generally is based on merit while looking at exceptional circumstances to put merit in a not overarching all being category. That's a good thing. It has allowed for colleges to get generally ambitious kids, accomplished kids, and populate with some less accomplished but less privileged kids every single year in a college class. It's a pretty good system. And yes, it does rely on an SAT or ACT to measure the merit. Doesn't mean they're exclusively relying on it. It's never more than 50% of a college's decision, but it's an important one for most competitive colleges. Now, a few have decided to dispense with the SAT as a requirement. It's now optional. The most prominent was done recently, University of Chicago. And under the old system, it had grown its status to #4 ranking in US News. Okay? #4. I guarantee they will never see a #1, 2, or 3. And that's because the quality of student on the whole will go down. When it is an optional test, then students who are of less caliber don't submit their SAT scores. Now, what they're going to have to submit is very high GPA. And hopefully this set of kids have huge GPAs if they still want to go to that level of school. You better have a 4.0 or a 3.9 if you're expecting to be at a top 20 university without SAT scores. And if you're okay not going to a top 20 university, please recognize that there are some jobs that are no longer going to be available to you. There's some grad school programs that you're not in the running for, okay? They really want the tippy top. Maybe if you're valedictorian in a lesser ranked school. I'm not ever saying that lesser ranking is worse education, but I am saying that ranking still, and I think always will, relate to job prospects, be they graduate school, be they getting into the State Department, highly selective first-time round jobs, be that getting into certain law firms, be that getting into certain banking careers. They're looking for the students that they perceive have merit. The top-tier schools are, rightly or wrongly, their recruiting grounds. So the student who has it in her head at age 16, maybe 17, that this is not for me, fine, but recognize you are cutting off some opportunities. If you stay open-minded for, a few more months and go through the process that almost everyone else is of studying hard on some things that might seem to you out of line, but are what millions of students go through and are not odious, it's worth it. Look what is studied when you work to excel on the SAT. You're working on your English. You're working on your basic math, not high level, basic. You're working on reasoning skills. You're working on grammar. And in some cases, you're working on expression via writing. These are not bad things. And if you expect all colleges to dumb themselves down, not have a national standard, then please recognize your new type of hiring will be based solely on primping, poise, and maybe privilege. Things that the SAT as a meritocratic test went out of its way to get rid of. It's been a good thing for students and colleges and America generally to have a measure of academic success. I think it could be tweaked. I think it could be a better measure. I frankly think the old SAT was better than the new one, but it still is a national standard. And woe to you potentially if you regret, oh, I can't get into that top tier career because of a temporary time. I hope it's temporary when you are putting standards aside. I'm Mark Stewart Greenstein for Ivy Bound.